All right, so we're back in.
Back in the third episode.
Third episode of the podcast. Bringing it, doing it live. Stop looking at my ween.
Look at my wrist.
Hey, ice on my wrist. Am I right, ladies? Ladies! Alright, so let's just kick right off. How has your week been? I know you're in college and you just finished up finals. So, how fun was that?
You see me eating crystals at like 4 a.m. in the morning. You could have I guess you have a slight idea. I've been,
No, honestly though, was that a one-time thing, or did you actually consecutively eat crystals for 2 days?
that was a one-time thing, because I was trying to get food someplace else, but everything was closed except crystals. Crystals was my shiny beacon, and I answered. It was my lighthouse in the dark, stormy fog.
Crystals is like the restaurant you'd find down a dark alley. I don't know if that's
No, afterwards, cause I hadn't slept 24 hours prior to that, and then I slept maybe 3 hours, took a nap, and then I woke up, tried to order crystals, and immediately I just felt like shit. Like afterwards, I just my stomach just and
yeah,
then,
dude.
I just kind of like fetal crawled onto my bed and took like another little 3 hour nap. And then what the funny thing was, I did that to study for like a final I had missed. And the professor said I could make it up, and I was like, okay, I'll come up to the office later that day, and I'm going up, and I feel terrible. And then I studied all night or whatever, but still, I wasn't prepared for the class. And then I went to his office, and he wasn't there. And I was about to email him and be like, where are you at, professor? And then
He said crystals is the only place open.
He said, I'm at Crystals. No, but one of the other students came out too, because they were all turning in their essays or whatever there. And I was like, is he here? Is the professor here? And he was like, no. I was like, oh, I had to take this final that I missed. And he was like, oh yeah, I missed the final too. I took it yesterday. He just lets you take it in the library without his supervision. And I was like,
what?
Are you fucking serious? Like, he had the final test right there on the door. So I just took it, and I went to the library, and like all the studying that I did was for nothing. And I just went to the library and used whatever accessible resources that I had to take the final, and then I just completed it.
Oh
and
my
that's fucking college right
So
there.
were people around you like on their phones or some shit, like just getting answers for the test?
No, I was the only one. I was the only one taking it.
Oh, that's right, you were late. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because so I had to like retake it, or not retake it, but make it up. And then I just went to the library, and I went to the corner, and I just fucking did my thing.
Jesus Christ.
And then
I can't.
No, it's kind of useless right now. Like all the shit I'm studying, I I have a class called Music and Culture, and the class prescribes like a book by this man called Bowman Cook or something. It's pretty good. That's the required text that we have to read, and I read the whole thing, and honestly, it has a lot of good discussion and some questions and concepts that it raises. But the thing is, I learned all the shit in that class from that book and not from the professor. Like if I just read the book itself, I wouldn't have needed the class.
Yeah.
Like honest to God, yeah.
Well, that's my idea with like teachers in general. Like I feel like when you go into a classroom, it's just twiddling your thumbs while they talk, and then you go back home and you digest and you figure out how to learn by your own means. Because I mean, like even with setting the sun, even bringing it back to that, I think a perfect world is one in which we have no teachers and only students. Because we all have that innate curiosity and that yearn to learn. So
Yeah.
why conform people to this box for an hour and a half of their life as a means to make what should be instinctual mandatory?
Yeah, it should be brought up from like the very get-go, but it's not. It's sort of like what is it? It's how it's a funny thing too. I've been learning about like Eastern methods of teaching. And in Korea, like the kids there, they just fucking torture themselves with school. Like the kids when they attend school or like school hours, I've heard they'll usually just be sleeping. and the teachers take it as a sign of their hard work. It's after school that they actually do learning after school programs or whatever, and they go ham until like 11 o'clock, and then they go home
That's
and then
incredible.
start the whole thing again. Yeah, no,
Wow.
like honestly.
Like, yeah, and then it's disrespectful. See, yet again, we're getting to that kind of theme in education where, like, I think as a focal point, saying that the means to learn about the world we live in is instinct, but then we live, God, I don't want to finish that sentence. We live in a society where people enforce that as mandatory. It's the same thing as saying, don't kill anybody. That's a bad idea. Just in first grade, I learned treat others as you would like to be treated. Okay, great. I learned that. We're fine. I'm not gonna go out murdering people. Stop putting that in my head. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to not want to learn unless you make learning boring as hell. You know.
Yeah. No, but like I agree on that sort of like specific outlook, but to like give it another contrasting view,
Yeah.
I do appreciate what this sort of education system is right now, sort of, because in Myanmar, what my parents grew up with, my cousins grew up with, is like totally half-assed and just terrible. They told me about how their education system basically relies on memorization,
Oh yeah.
and that's it. They'll have to just memorize like 100 pages of text for their finals and whatnot. And the way and like just doing that guarantees them success. To become a doctor in that climate too, and like my cousin's a doctor too. She told me about memorizing just entire books, and then after like a year or something, she just forgot everything. Like they don't actually ever learn. They're just like having that just sort of plastered onto them for a short moment, and then just ripping it off afterwards.
Well, I think that's where we get to this polarization that, like you said, with the contrast. I think that is far into the territory of them not teaching you how to intake knowledge, whereas here they're trying to teach you how to learn. But that's something that is done by one's own accord. Like in ninth grade, I went to a charter school of about 90 kids. And even brief rundown. Ninth grade, I went to a charter school, 90 kids. 10th grade, I went to this really traditional school, like 800 kids. And then senior year, bleep, went to a school of like 2,000 people. It kind of was this middle spot between the traditionalism in teaching and this new wave of teaching that I got in ninth grade. Which, speaking of, in ninth grade, they would assign you different roles of how you learn. I learned I was a visual learner, as I think that's become normative as well, as people are starting to talk about auditory learners, visual learners, tactile learners, essentially just sensory learners. But I think that is good if you find it yourself. If somebody tells you from an outward perspective that you look like you would be better fit to learn in a certain manner, that's where we start crossing the line between losing one's identity, cough cough,
Yeah.
setting the sun, in much the same as you're talking about, where they give you no form of identity with memorizing things, then you become this husk of actions and output, such as cough cough, Andre,
Yeah. No, I would definitely imagine myself to like if I was stuck over in Burma just memorizing whatever, I wouldn't ever actually think about what I'm memorizing. I'd just be like you said, a husk, just doing it for the grades and whatnot. But also, it isn't that like sort of, and this is something I learned from like the books I was reading. It's that when you describe something, like through language, and this is also I think in like AP Human Geo, World Geography or some shit. Like if you describe something once, that description is just set for like the entirety of your memory towards it, and that translates to language, translates to music. Like the way we describe music is in a metaphorical situation. Like if you hear some Debussy and you're like, oh, this sounds like raindrops hitting the water. That's exactly just how you're going to feel about that music.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily see it another way, but that's also kind of the way I've been trying to get music into my system, is not trying to metaphorically take it in, because that's such an easy way to take everything in, and that sort of shifts everything into one sort of view. But instead, I believe like sort of the true way to taking in music is just to take it in as it is and not to give it a story. Like everything else has a story, film has a story, and of course that's essential to it, but music doesn't need to have a story. And so you just take music in as it is, as notes, as vibrations, as whatever. That's getting off track or
No, no,
whatever,
I
but I
think
just wanted
well,
to, yeah,
I
like,
think that's great. Yeah, because well, when I was growing up as a kid, I'd listen to a lot of these ambiguous alternative songs. Foo Fighters, loved them growing up, and
mm-hmm,
I can go back to their songs. I don't know what the hell they mean when he's talking about burning paper and walking miles for 1,000 days. Just like it's a lot of these broken, fragmented memories that they have that are sort of emotional masks that they give to their audience to wear. And I've kind of been coming to a harsh reality with that and believing that the subjective reality I've set
mm,
is my own reality. And like what you said with music and how to take it in, I think film as well. There are a plethora of ways that, and again, the focal point here, setting the sun could be taken in, but as it would boil down, when I see it, and when I have seen it, and I have made it, and I had it be seen out,
mm-hmm,
it is only ever going to be seen the one way that I should choose to have it exist.
mm,
And from where it goes thereon, it's almost, as you said, like with metaphors, it could be symbolically like the rays of sun that blind our protagonist. The protagonist is as blind as those that consume the medium. So,
mm-hmm,
and well, I'm kind of making that point very blatant, but I think that's one of the driving forces behind the movie is how I chose to be blind all my life because that was comforting. And
yeah,
it's comfortable to believe that we have this transcendent view of the world because we do to an extent.
mm-hmm,
We are the center of our own world, but there's a harsh reality that is beyond our perception, much as we talked about in the first podcast, that goes beyond the threshold of what we've known to even exist. And it's like when a
mm-hmm,
dog sees their owner leave. It's like the world is
yeah,
gone, you know?
yeah,
And that's I think it's the very same with humans. You know, it's like when there's something that we just don't understand. It's even in the movie. Why am I even talking about this? Mercy. Mercy says to James, or in his transformation, that what we understand, we want to explore, and what we don't know, we'll never know, we can learn.
mm-hmm,
And that's just it. Is that music, film, art? It can be so elusive if it's not seen. And I think what I really enjoy about the film medium, from my own perspective, is that it goes beyond photography in the sense that you can't quite take that moment away from somebody. When they
mm-hmm,
see, that one frame of the movie play out and it goes on from there, that's the hook. That's what gets them into it. And it constantly will be there all their life. Even if they should forget it as a reference, it's always going to be there in the back of their head.
yeah,
And yeah, I think like even bringing that point full circle, when we define things, like you said, like it sounds like raindrops, as you referred, as an
mm-hmm,
example. I think as a child, that's when things are so concrete, and it's something that
what like
well, yeah, what?
like descriptions or like what do you what
Well, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
was,
It's like when an authority figure tells you what something means, then that is what it means. You know,
oh, okay, yeah,
and like even right now, this is a bit of a transition if you want to get into it. On my end, just yesterday, to date this podcast, I've been playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Is somebody banging at your door?
yeah, I think, hold on, let me check. They wanted batteries so they could play Fortnite. Fuck out of
Oh,
here.
fuck. Fortnite.
I
Why is that still
Yeah,
a thing?
Cause they have Xbox and I don't know.
God.
You see that new update? They have planes now. They have planes. No.
Jesus
Ah.
Christ. Speaking of
Alright,
video games. Speaking of video games.
Yeah, the transition.
I haven't played video, like, I've taken such a hiatus from everything. I haven't been,
Mm-hmm.
I've tried watching movies again. I did, like, TV shows, TV in general. I don't know if I'm ever going to get back into it like I did.
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah.
it's all just, it's that comfort that we're talking about. I can't feel too comfortable with something, it's like I gotta keep moving.
I honestly how many shows did you watch when you were little? Like sitcoms and
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah. I was
TV
watching,
dramas
like,
or whatever. Like,
How I Met Your Mother, The Office.
hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
But those
Lois.
are the shout out Peter Griffin profile picture
Hey.
again. But yeah, the most I can do right now is what is it? Devilman Crybaby. And I might watch Twin Peaks, but that was only like 2 seasons, and that was directed by David Lynch or something. And I heard he's a good British director, and the greatest or whatever. So I might check that out. But are we still rolling with a TV show, or I heard some Smash Bros. I don't know.
Well, real quick, just like to put the pin in TV shows. Like, I think I'll say, I like TV shows that have a point, like they have a beginning and an end.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's the kind of like comedy sitcoms, like character study, it's not even a character study. It's just like archetypes on a screen. He's the funny guy. Yeah. Like, I don't.
Bazinga.
Bazinga. Ah! Like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I can't see television anymore, especially like popular TV shows, as anything except cash grabs and money, just money opportunities.
Okay.
Like, as you said, there needs to be
a thing about movies though too.
That's true, but TV shows run for way longer though.
Yeah.
Like, they run for so many. Yeah, we already know our thoughts on movies now and stuff like that, and Cape films, Aquaman and Waterboy.
He protect.
Essentially, what you're saying with the beginning, middle, the end. I hate how they drag on TV shows for so long, without a conclusion at all. Just for the opportunity to make money, and it kind of made me respect more of like the shows that would have an end. And some Adult Swim. I don't watch Adult Swim, but I've seen a couple, Rick and Morty.
Hey, I mean, like, I don't watch hentai,
No,
but I know a tentacle when I see it. But with TV shows though, I think it's true. It's just like when it's insulting, and if there's just one episode where I feel like it's not going anywhere, I'm just like, fuck this, no way. Like Stranger Things. That, like, last example I can really think of. There was like the second to last episode of season 2. Like, it literally there was no point for that episode to exist.
Alright, what happened? I've never seen.
You never got into it. That's right.
Things. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna get into it either.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like, spoil away.
I mean, like the whole. If I can even remember, because I was watching in like season 2, maybe a week after it was hot or whatever. I think it was like we had a break or something. And there's this whole deal where our MacGuffin, which is Elle, she's like the one with the powers that's gonna stop the Demogorgon, who's the big bad guy. Yeah. Well, Paul's doing the Magneto, but like she just gets angsty and she leaves the group, and she's like, nothing I thought is going back to subjective reality. Like, nothing I thought was real is good, or blah blah blah. I met my mom and she has her brain fried, and spoilers, whatever. But anyway, she goes and meets, like, what was it, her sister or something? She meets somebody she's supposed to know, and they're like bad girl. I'm chilling with a bunch of bad types, and we're cool, and we swear, fuck, and it's cool. And like, it's just stupid. There was no point to the episode, is what I'm trying to say. It was supposed to be like this
Yeah.
empowering women can be badasses. Yeah. It's like, if there's no point, then your whole narrative is kaput. It defeats the message you're trying to make about empowerment. It's stupid. It's just backhanded insults, such as TV is, when it has no driving force to it. And I will say, in defense of Stranger Things, the writing on that episode, I swear, I like called it, and then at the end it was like, oh, yep, that makes sense. The writing was done by some other guys, not like the actual creators of the show. So I was like, okay, like that makes sense.
That's weird.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, if the creators of the show are just producing, if they're producers or whatever, you know, they're taking a back seat and they're letting other people take control of their quote unquote vision. It's like, no, you don't have a vision anymore. You can't say that this is your show anymore if somebody else is writing for you. You know.
Yeah.
And that's anything. It's like, if you're just a producer, it's like, great. Well, actually, let me take that back. If y'all want to give me money to make movies, thank you, and I highly respect your judgment in any future project.
No, don't be a wage slave. Fuck producers.
I need money, dude. I need money.
No, yeah. Oh, we love producers.
We love producers, especially executive producers, dude. Like, but
we got a GoFundMe.
Hell yeah.
New short film coming up. We need $30,000.
Yeah. No. We need a milli. We need a fat milli. We got big ideas, bro. Big dog, big nuts. All right, but like, anyway, point being, fuck TV shows. I don't. After I saw Breaking Bad, I'm like, there's no TV show that's gonna live up to this hype. And just like that show was just perfect, and it never felt dull. There was always something happening. Anyway, like, I guess there's a silver lining to TV shows, is the point. But yeah, bouncing back, because there is a lot more I'd like to talk about in terms of like what we kind of touched on, and that's that jaded kind of cash grab perspective on movies. But I'm gonna get back to that. I actually had a little bit I wanted to say about that.
Okay.
But with just coming back to the real world, video games, watching movies, I'm so happy. I'm finally I feel like I'm living again. I'm alive. And I have thoughts and opinions, and my subjective perception of the world matters. That too. A lot of my writing's been really, really negative and kind of depressing. It's been very. I'm not even gonna get into it. It's just like, let's do a bit of a quick retrospect. This is a quick little break.
Okay.
Music. What have you been listening to this year? What? Because I'm interested to hear, how have you changed and evolved as a music listener?
I've been listening to partly the same albums.
Get the fuck out of here.
Because there are no other ones that have just touched me as much as they have, and are just have that same repeatable listening value. It's Die Lit by Playboi Carti. And that whole album is, I gotta say, one of the best trap albums ever released. Even though you don't understand what the fuck he's saying, I thoroughly enjoy it. I have the music and culture class, and the professor has this playlist of all these significant historical pieces and whatnot of different genres. And I gotta say, out of all the classical or music, I would have to say Debussy, whatever the fuck, would probably be my favorite. I've been trying to listen to him a lot more often, but that's because his is a lot more. He was of the impressionist stage of music, and so he wouldn't necessarily have such grand, driven symphonies or whatever. He would go a lot more, as the impressionist movement was, just this simple idea of his piece, and he would just play along, and it was it was very simple was the word. Impression. It gave you an
Minimalist.
impression of what he was trying to say. Yeah, minimalist.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I've been listening to.
Well,
What about you?
well, can I just give a hot take on, like, this is a common man's opinion in the music world, because I'm the kind of guy who like doesn't really remember band names very well. I don't know singers, you know. It's like, oh, I heard that song, but I'm thinking, you go back 50 years, and they're like, jazz. What is this? You rabble rousers, or probably 60 years
Yeah.
or 70 years. But point being, then we start building up, and then we get into like alternative and grunge in the 90s, and it's that heavy guitar and that like head banging, and get into like 2000s, it's dubstep where there's the bass drop and you know, um, yeah,
Okay.
all kind of. I thought, wait, were you sneezing or were you doing a bass drop?
I was doing a bass drop, man. I was Skrillex right there.
It sounded
The
like
fuck?
you were passing away, but
Just like dubstep did.
yeah,
Just like dubstep did.
dubstep doesn't die, or dubstep never dies, or whatever. but now I'm
Oh
saying,
god.
what I'm getting at is, take music nowadays, it's trying to get like even harder than a single bass drop. It sounds like you just up the bass and make everything loud, and you take a guy like, I know I'm not gonna straw man either. I'm not gonna say like, this guy fits my narrative, but like X, you know, like the
Yeah.
hard bassy,
That one.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna get any harder than that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
How?
what do you think?
No,
Like,
I basically fear for my ears by the time I'm 70. Like with all the, and not even with that, but in memes too, where they just have the ear rape out of nowhere. I just want my ears to be there when I'm 70 years old or something.
I would be editing
But
stuff like that, like ear rape videos and like memes, and I, you know, it's like, it's meant to torture people. It's meant to be like, LOL, ear rape, and then like,
yeah,
it's funny for them. But I would be editing that shit, and I would have the volume all the way up, and I would,
no,
I swear, I'm going to be deaf. I know I am. Like,
no, it even like now too. It's there's a thing in producing. It's like if you listen back to older tracks of older times and the new tracks of now, everybody wants their music to be louder.
yeah,
That's the thing. Everybody wants their music to be louder, and that distorts the quality. That's something. That's some sort of like, I don't know what the name was, but I was like listening to a video by some producer, and he was talking about this. I think it was 40. He produces Drake songs or whatever, and he's very good. Even on the more like, not even on the hip hop side, but on the other sides, he has a great team, and he was talking about um, mixing and mastering and how, yeah, people just want to make their music louder
yeah.
because louder equals better for some reason, but it's not the case. It distorts the quality, and it also just distorts music as well. Like in the coming ages, when people are just going to keep on increasing, um, and you see with X, you see that whole conundrum. You ever heard of? I don't want to say it.
Eric
I don't know
North?
if I should say it. It's huh?
Well,
No.
Eric North is singing that, but what?
I was gonna say I don't know. I was gonna say Death Grips, but Death Grips is a kind of a meme.
Well,
Too,
no, they have their, I know.
But they're no. I was about to say they're not going loud, but they're just industrial.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Like
It's like, they have their fans. Like, I'm like unironic
Mhm.
fans.
Yeah,
Like, for real, yeah. So that's
But
definitely
they're,
like a valid point.
yeah. No, they're not like a bad meme. That's not what I'm trying to say. They're just like.
Well, that's how a band gets popular. They
It's
become
like
a
the-
meme.
Yeah, I guess they're just the. I just seen a lot of memes with them and Caro Bonito, and it just sort of has me feeling that KKB's more harder than Death Grips. But have you listened to Caro Bonito?
No.
Fucking A. Oh, actually, no. That's one of the bands I'm listening to as well. No, see, I'm trying to go through my Spotify because every time someone asks me this, I completely blank out. But Caro Bonito, their first albums were like very video game influenced. And I fucking love that too. And now they're going into a more rock or, more of a rock vibe with their latest albums. And I gotta say, like, they were like part of an era that I was never part of. Like, I don't know, the whole grunge vibe and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they take it to like such a modern air like wave too, and it got me feeling good. Like I always listen to their songs. I'm like, even though it's
Headbanging, yeah.
even though yeah, but you know, as people listening to the podcast probably know, Caro Caro Benito was the people who made the Flamingo songs. How many shrimp
Oh
can it take
my.
to eat?
Wait,
That song is really good though. It's really
I thought that
good.
was Poppy, or was that something else?
No, Poppy is like the weird. Well, I don't know. I've never seen her videos. But she on YouTube and it's in the art.
Yeah,
Genre
yeah,
or whatever,
experimental or something.
experimental genre.
Man,
Avant-garde.
speaking of experimental, all this talk about bass booming, man, fuck this blue ball head ad microphone. I'm about to go back to that external microphone. Hey guys, welcome to podcast. That's back when.
He's legit.
Man, I miss the old podcast, Paul. Bring back
It's
the episode 1.
podcast. Bring back the old podcast.
Yeah. But
Oh no, but Caro Caro Benito. I'm telling you, even that Flamingo song, it was not just about flamingos. It was a song about acceptance. Whether you're white, black, red, or blue. Dun, 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 dun. Flamingo.
all right.
It's a fucking good song.
It is.
I
I
enjoy
actually-
it so much. No, yeah. And but yeah, like that's my take on Caro Caro Benito. That's what I've been listening to. I've been listening to like Caro Caro
Y'all heard
Benito.
it here first. Paul Kett, his view on Caro Caro Bonito. You heard it.
Caro Caro Benito, Die Lit, self-titled again by Playboy Cardi. What others? Chet Baker, as a jazz musician, it's been really good. Of course, you know, Vangelis, the Blade Runner soundtrack on that. As well as some more, I wouldn't say experimental, but going back on the roots of like beat making and whatnot is Sam I Am, Flying Lotus, John Wayne. Those three guys. Been listening to their tracks. Fucking crazy what they just do. Just what they have their like own little label. With knowledge. I don't remember what the name was. Stone's Throw label. And Flying Lotus is like he has a song with Kendrick Lamar that just gives me chills every time I listen to it. It's because it's so wonderfully produced. Just crazy too, outside the box thinking. And Stone's Throw also partners with Adult Swim a lot of the times. That's how Flying Lotus, who's the producer, got his start, was on Adult Swim, and he used to make these. They kind of be lo-fi beats now, but they're a lot more complex than what original lo-fi 24/7 relax chill help video usually are. But no, they're on a different level. That's what I've been listening to anyways. What about you on your end?
Yeah, I feel like the evolution of my listening taste. I feel like if I'm really gonna think back to like what this year was for me, I listened to a lot of soundtracks in the beginning of the year, like orchestral, etc. Big band, not like in the jazz sense. Well, that's where it kind of went though, is because then I went from symphonies to piano pieces, and then that went to like, oh, what kind of piano pieces could I recall from like video games or other movies and stuff, and then it kind of looped back to other mediums of entertainment and the music that was produced for them. So I listened to stuff like what was it? Oh,
Journey.
Soundtrack to that, really great soundtrack. In terms of like big symphonic kind of stuff. I don't know if would symphonic be the right word, like a symphonic.
I'm terrible at the diction and theory terms, honestly, honest to God. Like, they just never stick in my mind. Symphonic, yeah, say whatever you want, man. Music is about feeling.
Yeah, like raindrops,
man.
I'm all about them
Like
raindrops.
raindrops on rain, hitting rain. Oh, God.
Oh, Insane in the Rain. That's the guy I would suggest. because
Ins-
well, from video game stuff, I got into jazz reduxes of video game songs, and it was like they would take the simplest things, and they would
mm,
expand it and really show you the inner workings of that melodic piece, and
mm-hmm.
that's where I found a guy like Insane in the Rain who actually did music for Undertale. But no lie, the music in Undertale is actually really good.
It is good. No, it is
Yeah.
good. Like the meme song, like it actually, if it wasn't a meme, that's actually like a really kind of like a like amp up song. I'm not gonna lie, and I've never heard any other like Undertale, um, songs or anything. But I'm not gonna lie though.
Well,
It's kind
well,
of
there's some
good.
really like heartfelt songs and throughout the game. I watched like a let's play of the whole thing, and it was a really great game. I haven't played it myself, honestly. I wish I did though. It looked really. You smiling, Paul?
Yeah, I just went like this because I got the Sans eye.
God damn it! Don't meme me, Paul. But
No.
but well, no. To be fair, I put a Sans meme in my freaking latest stupid video. Actually, I'll get into that later too. But
Oh, that's right.
yeah. But with like Insane in the Rain stuff he produces, he like did a lot of covers that I really just fell in love with, and then he did his own stuff, and I was like, oh my god, this is hashtag epic.
Oh yeah. This is epic.
I actually unironically almost said epic. I had to stop myself.
No, yes. I saw it coming out.
I had to put a hashtag on it just to tell you guys I'm ironic, guys. Don't worry. I'm aware, but yeah, like then from jazz I got into like Bee Gees, disco, and like funk, and oh my god, yeah, Bee Gees are fucking rocking Bee Gees for like a month, and then stuff that was like related to Bee Gees, because then from that, like from funk and disco, I went into Motown, and digging Sam Cooke, Bill Withers, fucking Barry White. Oh my god. And I'm like, why didn't I listen to this stuff when I was younger? This is so fucking Marvin Gaye. Why didn't I?
Oh,
like, I had never. I knew some of his songs, but then I listened to it. I'm like, God, this is so good. And like, what's going on during the Vietnam War era? It's all just like peace and love, man. And it makes me want to be a hippie. Like, but you just like,
oh my god.
you just have this other way of taking in music when all you hear is love, man.
Just peace and love, man. Peace and love, man. Why don't we just take all the guns and replace them with flowers, man? I'm getting too Nicolas Cage. No, it's not working.
Flowers, man.
With flowers, man.
That totally is Nick Cage too. Get on my bike.
No, but your like evolution is like basically what the entire curriculum of the music and culture was like class was trying to be, but our teacher doesn't. We've been stuck on fucking classical music.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand another goddamn. No, I hate that. We were trying to go through Motown and everything, but we never went through Motown. And like jazz, we kind of touched up on it. The teacher is a great jazz pianist, so he's played a couple pieces that sound really good, and I gotta give him that. But yeah, so far it sounds like you're going on your own things. Really good though.
I got
Really good
I got
evolution.
SoundCloud. I'm not on that Spotify shit.
You're on that SoundCloud, bro. I'm off SoundCloud now, man. I haven't found anything good.
Well, I got
since,
premium
like, forever.
for like the free trial thing. So I've been listening, like I said, like yeah, Marvin Gaye. What's another one? Like, is it Phil Berry? Me and Mrs. Jones. It's like, all right. Anyway, it's just really feel good music, especially when like you're going to work and it's like fuck, having this here, it's just so comforting. And I'll say this too, like I listen to a lot of classic rock and that's like what kind of got me into alternative rock, hard rock, and like that angsty stuff in middle school. But it's like I still have a place in my heart for it. Like when I listen to it, and it's like, working my job and I'm doing manual labor and I'm listening to the Eagles or Boston or Aerosmith, but it's like having Motown now. It's just like another sensation. Just
Yeah.
it's like
No, that's
keeps me going.
that's the way I feel about Kero Kero Benito, because it's I'm not gonna lie, it is very kawaii. It is very
But is
kawaii. It's
but
just
wait. But is it Kawaii Desu?
it's kawaii desu with a touch of senpai, cause
Oh, nekimasu.
because no, like itadakimasu. No, what is it? Like, I blast my music out in the shower when I'm showering, right? So like in the mornings to get me up, I put on the Vangelis soundtrack, or I got the film scores on Spotify, and they're usually like Italian, and like whatever, like. So I'm like showering to Viva la Vivre or something, or like I'm showering to Tears in Rain and like Memories of Green and whatever. But like those, like my like suite mates all know me like when I'm in the shower, because I'll have my weird, they call it weird music blasting. They're like, oh, Paul listens to classical in the shower. He's listening to weird music, man.
What the
And
fuck?
they know
Yeah,
me.
he's naked.
I. They're like, Paul? No, but I've never
I'm scared.
been.
I'm scared. Well, actually, I'm scared my neighbors are gonna hear me. Be like, "Whoa, what is that fucking bigot doing up there?"
Bigot to his hates gay, but I've never been able to blast Karakil Benito because it's too kawaii. It's too kawaii for their ears. They're gonna think I'm a kawaii. No, they're gonna be like, because it's alright. Bleep that out. Bleep that out. No, but
I'm keeping it in.
It's legitimately like, there's something about having a half Japanese, half British girl singing Japanese words to you in such a cute kawaii voice
Oh,
over the hardest fucking beats
Japanese
ever.
pop. That
The-
was I was banging that too.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
but this is more like, this isn't fully Japanese J-pop though. It's like it has its roots in with American like rock. I don't know what to describe, but it's not like the whole J-pop electro sound. I can't stand K-pop nor J-pop. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie. I had my own run-in with that when I was younger. I'm off of that.
I mean,
now.
I hadn't, so like it was good for
They
me.
it brings me back bad memories.
Really? Why? I saw the movie.
Vietnam flashbacks. Oh. No.
But I saw the movie Mirai, and like I actually noticed the band that was like doing the theme for Mirai, like the anime that Shideki made, the guy that did Your Name.
You're right.
Fuck, I shouldn't. Give me a second. Is it Shideki or is it Shoneki?
I don't know. I haven't heard of anything new coming from him though. Like, I've not been up on that. So. Yeah.
I hear you put that J-pop behind you, so I understand. Put that kawaii lifestyle back behind you.
Yeah, no, that was back in my K-pop days, man.
Anyway, I mean, I can let's get off of it so you don't get too hurt.
I'm sorry. I had to take a moment to compose myself, viewers.
Viewers, subscribers, fans, speculators, people watching us talk, listen to us talk. I see. Thank God.
Nah, if we want to get into that K-pop, we can get into that K-pop.
Nah, fuck it.
We can get in, bro.
No, we're gonna talk about something that's American, like Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Like Fortunate Son. I just discovered like recently that was like the song for the Vietnam War, and how the troops would, I don't know if this was real, but the troops would play it before they shot down like Vietnam kids.
Oh yeah, the one that's like da, 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 da.
Well, no, I don't know. All I know is that. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just remember the opening licks. It was like.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah. But yeah, I just discovered how that was like has a lot of substance towards it. But yeah, Super Smash Bros.
So yeah, like I stayed up all night last night playing the campaign, and God, I was like so nostalgic playing it because Melee is a game that I got the game before I got the actual console, and I just remember like staring at the artwork and like what is this? Everything about
Wait,
it.
like back then or
Yeah,
now?
when I was like a 3 year old, I just
Oh,
remember it being so fascinating, and just the colors and the characters look so vibrant and everything looks so fun. I hadn't played the actual game, and I did when I was like 4. Uh, but of course I didn't understand how all that stuff worked and details like I
mm-hmm.
I didn't know I didn't know how the memory card worked, so I just reset every time I play. but but yeah, it's like I ended up gravitating towards playing Fox McCloud, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this is kind of what we're talking about. I remember when I was 4 years old, I would beat my friends' asses playing Fox McCloud, and I mean, no, to give them credit, they would beat me in the beginning, and then I
Yeah.
started beating them. But,
Okay.
uh, but like, I think with this idea that once things are defined for us, it's concrete. Same thing with comfortability. Like when you kind of settle down, and you find your spot in life. It's like this is it. This is all I need, and
Mm.
that's a great thing. That is a good thing because you've found yourself and you found your identity. But that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's my worry in life is like I don't know if I want that, and that's just my value. That's my perspective on the world. And
What the too comfortable?
yeah, I'm not comfortable. It's not that I'm not comfortable having an identity. It's just that I'm too scared that my values are going to be set in stone, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a mistake, or I'll make a judgment call that's wrong if I have a strict set manner in which I think things should be conducted. Then we can get political and talk about like
Yeah.
but from a moral judgment, like a moral standpoint, you know, there's our duty to uphold the law, but then there's the moral obligation to treat others decently or with decency, and there's a fine line where anyway, fuck that. I'm talking
Yeah.
about Smash Bros Ultimate. So I'm
I think my identity in life is to beat you in Smash Bros. Ultimate.
you say to me,
That's my identity in life. After that, I can just die.
I'm down to Smash too. You show me pictures at your college of people doing Smash tourneys. I'm like, bro.
They were doing like a heavy session. I came in the middle of it too at like 5 p.m. and I was like, oh, they're playing the new Smash. I'm like, okay, I'll have a watch. And I was just chilling a moment before I got into like an art lecture, which I kind of want to talk like just briefly
Yeah.
about too afterwards. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I went, and then like 11 p.m. I went back out, and I still see them there, and they're still playing, still smashing away. But I'm not like that game. Like growing up, I didn't have a console or nothing. And the only Smash Bros. I played was the one online where I was like smashing the controls with like my friends or whatever on the
Mm.
keyboard. That game though, like a couple nights ago, I played so much of it. I played um like a sesh before, and then this one particular sesh, uh, me and like we had like a whole group there trying to like just play, and I was like busting ass. I'm not gonna lie, I got really good at it over like the little short amount that I was playing, because I started getting handle of the controls and shit, and I was like, okay, if I do this combo and this combo, it's gonna send him out the map. I'm gonna be like, hell yeah.
Paul, like
Um,
I'm all for you feeling yourself. Like you should feel good, but like you know what that tells me? It tells me that you're playing with some fucking beginners. Tells me
that's not true. That's
it
not
tells me
true.
that they don't know how to wave dash. They don't know about fucking L cancel. They don't know about that tech. That
I don't know what none of those things mean. All I know is I'm in the zone. I play the zone.
So you don't know
I don't
shit.
need no technique.
Mrs. Obama, get down!
I don't need to know the technique names, beats. No, but like, honestly, I started getting good. And then like everyone else stopped playing because they went to go do whatever. They're still in the house. They just stopped playing, and then me and this girl just played like a 25-hour sesh. I kept smashing that ass. I was smashing that ass on her. She was like, she was like a junior or senior, and she's very into the nerd culture or whatever, and she was like, all right, I'm about to smash you, Paul. No, like, she was like, oh, I've been playing Smash when I was little. I'm gonna smash you, Paul. You better get wrecked. And I tore that ass up. Zach.
I want to, bro. You have no idea. I want to play you so bad now. Like, God, I want to
No,
smash
like,
you so hard. I want to smash you so hard.
I need to get it. There's like, we have this one brother who's actually like really legitimately good, or apparently in the Smash universe or whatever. I don't know. He plays a lot with the other more acclaimed people, and I can never beat him. No one's ever really beat him in the house yet, though. It's just he's my final goal. He's my final goal. He's the one that got me back into RuneScape too. So,
well,
but long story short is, that's my training for you, Zach. I'm trying to come for yo ass.
Okay, let me see this. Were you guys playing with the Joy-Cons?
With the Joy-Cons? What are those?
Okay, so you guys had GameCube controllers.
Yeah, GameCube controllers, as well as also. Well, I played with the GameCube controllers, and then there were also the Mii U controller, the Mii U gamepad for the Wii, because we used it. We were trying to buy a Switch, but we got a Wii. But I was with the GameCube controllers. Fuck you talking about,
All right,
Zach?
I was just making sure.
Oh,
I was making sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna.
You were playing with the Switch. Playing with the Switch. Going new gen on this, man.
Well, actually, I need to get an adapter for my Switch. I've been using the Joy-Con. But the GameCube, that's where it's at. That's where like I could feel the combos coming. They nerfed Fox so bad. I get it, but like Fox is not as good as he used to be. But I'm still gonna main him. He's in my heart.
Really? He wasn't like, I tried using Fox and he just wasn't as I don't know why they do that. I thought everyone should be on like a similar level, and how like, you know, it should be individual players who bring that combos in. But each one has their own perks, I guess. I main Wii Fit Trainer and Villager.
What the fuck? I mean, like,
I'm just playing. I don't main anybody. I'm not gonna lie. Oh.
I mean, like, I just showed Paul a picture of my Smash Fox T-shirt, but like, Fox is my soul character. You know,
Zach is deep in
a wise man once said, "You don't find the character finds you." Fox found me, and this is where I say, to bring it all full circle, I don't think I would be writing a Star Fox script, or I wouldn't be deep in the Star Fox lore at all had I not been 4 years old playing Smash Bros. Melee and just choosing Fox to beat my friends' asses. It's just how things work out.
Have you ever tried to get in touch with like the Star Fox creators or whatever?
No, I want to so bad, but I think it's all, I don't know. I want to have the script done before I make any moves with it. And even then, I just hear nightmares about how like, you can't go to a big studio and expect that when you have no resume, you can just say, hey, here's a script, you know? You need an agent, you need a backup, or like, you know, a history or something. But I don't, at the same time, it's like, Fox chose me! You have to understand! But, no, I mean, like, again, bottom line, it's like, I really enjoy the guy who made A Fox in Space. And again, quick, so I can give context as well. Stuff like me really enjoying Star Fox, I think is the same exact thing. is like people that become furries or something. It's like, you know, it's that thing that they found when they were a kid, and it's like, this is my objective happy place, you know? And like, this is where I'm comfortable. This is where I'm going to craft my identity. I mean, I'm not even like saying this from a good or bad standpoint, just as a neutral point of existence. I think that would give reason for why I really enjoy Star Fox. Because I remember even when I was playing Ultimate, the second I got to play as Fox during the campaign, even if it was hard, even if there are times where I'm like, I'm gonna have to cheese the hell out of this level because you're obviously supposed to use this character and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I'm using Fox.
Ooh,
Like,
okay.
I don't care. I'm gonna figure it out, and I did. I did it, and I won. Because Star Fox is all about integrity, justice. But anyway, point being, like Matthew Gafford, creator of Fox in Space, Nintendo doesn't even like recognize the guy. Like, just totally a blip on not even.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then like with stuff with Pokemon Nuclear, when it was a fan made game, they weren't even trying to monetize it. They were just trying to get it out into the world. Nintendo shut it down and made sure to like get rid of any copies that were on the internet. And it's just like, it's the segue that I'm going to get to. So with Nintendo, they, like Disney, are very protective of their IP. It's really touchy because then we have a Mario movie being made by Illumination Entertainment.
Yeah.
That's coming out in 2022. And even like that year when they had signed that deal and they had kind of got the ball rolling there, they had also done deals with Ubisoft. And they're the guys that created the Rabbids. And Rayman as well. Which I enjoyed Rayman growing up. Like, I'd go over to a friend's house who had the PlayStation. And, but like, yeah, it's Rabbids, from a gaming standpoint, are essentially just minions for games.
Yeah, are they in Smash Bros?
No, I
don't know.
I sent you guys a meme pic of like a Rabbids, but no, it's they have like spirits, quote unquote, like they're like trophies that you can collect of Rabbids, just because they made a game that was Mario X Rabbids, and it was this sort of crossover.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And it's the same thing happening right now with Illumination Entertainment and Nintendo. And I'll say this too, Miyamoto, he's working directly with wherever the fuck his name is at Illumination Entertainment, the creator there. So that's good because it's like, oh, your original creator is gonna go hand to hand, or like, you know, go and work with him directly. Which is great, but take a guy like Miyamoto who's been making games all his life and you put him in the director's chair. I'm worried he's going to think, okay, we got to create new characters and we got to make this movie stand out from the video games by giving it a new setting, new this, new that, you know, and not just calm down. I'm not even saying calm down, like sedate the idea and the creativity, but just give the audience some time to flesh out a video game transformation to the cinematic realm. Because I'm going to say right now, Sonic the movie, the only saving grace for that film, and I'm saying this as somebody who, of course, like, I haven't seen the movie, I haven't seen any trailers, etc. I'm just saying, as what I know Sonic to be in the gaming world, and in the nerd culture, the only thing that's going to save Sonic is if it's actually just a meme of a movie. Like, if it's a good movie, if it's like a really good Sonic movie, I think people are going to go, oh, it was alright, and move on with their day, because it's Sonic. But if they just meme the fuck out of that movie, I think it might actually make some waves. But that's because that's Sonic. You take a guy like Mario, not even from the surface level bullshit where I see people analyzing, like, Mario is an Italian stereotype. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's just like, there are a couple of videos, well, no, it does. Anyway, like, did you see the whole, like, the Apu that I know, where he's talking about, like, the Indian accent? Just this, like, this
Nah.
Brain Dump, really great sort of critic channel, but he uses Mario as an example of like Italian stereotyping. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm an Italian, and I enjoy that Mario exists because it kind of puts Italians on the map. Because we have something that's positive as an Italian voice, or like even if it's just some white guy pretending to be Italian, blah blah, blah blah blah. I'm just saying that Mario is a positive icon, and everybody knows who Mario is. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried that because it's so easy. It's so easy for them to take it down a route, and I'm gonna make a prediction of course, crossing over Minions and Mario World, but also they're gonna try and develop new characters, and Miyamoto, from a cinematic standpoint, isn't going to. And I'm not even saying this to denote or like degrade what he may know, because he's definitely a creator. He's made some iconic video games, characters, etc. But from a writing standpoint, I don't know if he's going to be able to develop characters that can sustain an hour and a half to 2 hours of people's time in a dark theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take a guy that's the creator of the Minions, and you give him this empty canvas, which Miyamoto, I believe, is going to opt for instead of taking past material and trying to conceptualize that to the cinematic realm, which I think is safe, and I think it's the go-to. I just think it's going to leave a print that we saw with the Super Mario Bros. Probably not devastatingly so, because the Super Mario Bros. Movie of 1993, I think it was, or no, must have been earlier, but or later. Anyway, I'm just saying it's not. It's probably not going to be like as jarring as a live action film, because it's going to be animation. It's going to look cute and probably be really fun looking, but
Yeah.
as a story, that's what I'm so worried about. And I'm so worried that there's two things I'm worried about. And I'm worried that either the Mario movie's going to bomb and Miyamoto's going to be like, okay, we're out of this bitch. No more movies. We were better off with the other safe company of Ubisoft in the gaming world. Like, even though Illumination Entertainment is the safe go-to cinematic world,
Mm-hmm.
like, he's just going to opt out entirely until he can, like, kind of get the ball rolling again after we saw with Super Mario Bros. The movie, because that also left a big scar.
Yeah.
But then my other worry, God, this is probably what's going to happen, but I'm very worried that it's going to be really successful and they're going to go, we got something made with this company, and I'm going to see a lot of IPs that I fondly know and enjoy and love get fucked by fucking Illumination Entertainment. Honestly, I'm gonna see a Star Fox movie where Slippy is like the main character or something.
I think the Mario, like, for like the whole movie concept, for me, like, as someone who is not part of that gaming world really, when I was younger, I know nothing about Mario, like his character tropes, or his, like, what he is as a character is what I'm trying to say, like, or Luigi or Daisy or Bowser. But for, like, I agree with the issue with, like, I hope, what's his name, Miyamoto, is able to maybe give us some context with that,
like,
or I don't know if he'll start
even
anew.
as you said, you and I are the perfect, like, we're the perfect demographics, the both of us. It's like, I know quite a bit about the whole, like, Mario lore or whatever, and then you're somebody who, like, doesn't know quite too much. So the safe option, and I know Miyamoto is not one to take safe options, such as he's revolutionized the gaming world, along with Iwata, of course, and so many other names, but like HAL Laboratories and Sakurai, but we're talking about Smash Bros. But anyway, like, I'm just saying, if they go and take the safe route and they make a movie that is totally based on previously concepted lore and story, and they just make it cinematic. I'm not saying, like, tick for tack, but you fill in the ambiguity that the past games couldn't create, and you make a full, like, animated film of what was and what people remember. You have guys like me that are really nostalgic Mario 64, I played that on the DS. I mean, there are people that are older than me that remember actually playing Mario 64 on the N64, playing Mario in the
Mm.
80s, etc. And then you take a guy like you who like doesn't know about that, and it's like you're seeing it all for the first time, and you're taking in all these stories and the emotion that went into it, and it's perfect. It's like Star Wars for people, you know? Uh,
Yeah,
except better
I
because
would say so.
like people that don't really they haven't seen the old Star Wars, they get into the new Star Wars and they're like, "What the fuck's going on? Nothing. None of this matters to me." Take a Mario movie. It's
They
like
got
you could go in anywhere.
yeah, unless they put minions in the Star Wars. Are they gonna put minions in the Mario's now?
If not the minions, I bet you there's going to be something that sells because Illumination are all about making toys. That's how they make the big money.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so
Are you gonna be the minion or the Bob for today?
maybe
But
Goombas would be really minion like
like
or something. I don't know.
like to the audience, like to clarify, what was that? What was those little creatures in the Star Wars
Porgs.
world? Porgs, yeah, porks are the minions. That's essentially
Yeah.
porks. I've thankfully I didn't see
Oh my
it.
god, it was bad. I mean, it was trying to. It's not even worth it. So many people have talked about it on YouTube. I bet everybody's seen videos on like subverting expectations and just how backwards that is, and it just doesn't. It's one thing to subvert somebody's expectations. It's another thing to say to an audience that expects something good and to say, "I'm going to give you something bad," and that's going to subvert your expectations. That just is pointless and dumb in a movie that should be popcorn fodder. But
Yeah.
it's like I went there to see a movie that is entertaining, not something that should make me go, "Oh, I'm thinking about things in my political social climate. Oh, I'm a sheep and I'm listening to my movie." Enter segment numero dos that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I think celebrities are nothing more than spectacles in life. It's like a long car crash, a long series of events that transpire in quotes and crashes and bangs and loud noises until there's finally a fiery finish and poof, it's in the back of your mind. And what I worry about is like I think I'm not even a very religious person by any means. I wasn't brought up to be very religious. I got a Jewish dad, a Christian mom, but they never really put that into me. I'm just kind of like, I believe in the people is what I've always gone by. Even when I was a little kid, I said that. Now I believe it. I believe in the people. I believe in interactions I have with people. I like having acquaintances. I like shaping my life based off those around me. But what I worry about is this sort of neo view on belief in which we can idolize each other and essentially kill religion by making gods of other human beings, kind of like way back when I guess like Jesus was the Messiah or something, or like when they would have physical people that were messiahs and these all-knowing entities. And really, when it boils down to our ideas of reality, there is the objective reality that everybody can try and coincide on and shape. But I don't believe there is an objective reality that can be abided by as a human being. I don't think there is a true law that we all follow. I think there is something that we are trying to attain, but objectivism is something that can never be attained. So, therefore, subjective reality is all that truly matters to us in the end. So, if I'm going by this as my standpoint, any celebrity, any point they bring up as a means to deciding moral standards on said things that happen in life, such as, what was it, like, Taylor Swift's silence was deafening, or what was it? Somebody's voice on something was needed to be heard, or some bullshit like that in the
Mm-hmm.
media. They're only a point of view. They're just a vessel of experiences that brought them to this point that they're at now, so that they can project their ideals onto everyone else. And I'm not saying they're maliciously doing so. I'm saying they, as a physical existence in the world, are only fulfilling what they can subjectively bring to the table. They are only as good as their experiences, even those that they have artificially manifested for you, myself, and for themselves. So
Mm.
that's just a brief point I wanted to bring up about fame and all that. I think that and I'm not even saying this as a speculative kind of thing, because I'm saying, oh, they are speculations. I'm not saying this as like an open ended, because I do have a close ended kind of philosophy on it, and I've come to terms with. And I'm not saying that like, oh, fuck fame, man, like fuck that. Blah, blah. I'm just saying, I think if we're talking about comfort, I think it's very important that we all play the role of the protagonist, that we should believe in our subjective reality, be it that it doesn't impede on the realities of others and any moral, there should be moral justice. But so long as we can be the famous person, in our own microcosm, then that
Mm-hmm.
is perfect. That like I think there is so much more respect for those that have gained notoriety in their own lives.
Yeah. No, like there is like a more of a respect for that, and even last night I had to go to like a art talk for like one of my art classes, my intro to drawing, just so I could get some extra credit. And I went and I went to the theater, and there were apparently all these like artwork hanging up, and I didn't know who the artists were. I just went, but it was a very interesting dynamic. There were three artists, and the one on the left, and the one on the right, kind of like sort of counterbalanced each other. The one on the left, he was talking about his art work and his experience in the art world in Atlanta and whatever. And he was like, it was funny. He said this, and it kind of reminded me of the writer security guard, the writer security officer that you met in the airport. He was like, the artist was like, yeah, I've been trying to figure out the Atlanta art scene since 1996. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it's been like 20 years, something like that. But then on the other side, it was a dude named Lynx Nguyen. He was an Asian, a Vietnamese man, born in not born, but raised in Atlanta. Um, and I don't know how prominent they are, but I heard Lynx was actually like pretty prominent. He had like a PBS show done on him, and like he was in some certain TV shows where they had his work and they showed him out. But he had a lot more Eastern philosophies to say, and he was more um, grounded. So what I'm trying to get at is like on one spectrum, like the other guy, he was trying to get out into the open and try to become something, and um, trying to figure out the art scene since '96. And on the other end, there was a guy who was um, he says that he listened to all sorts of religion, and he says that in every religion and every philosophical way of thinking in the Messiah, they always spout the same thing about self-knowledge. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven begins in you. Buddhism says the Buddha lies within you. And Allah says, Allah is closer to you than the blood coursing through your veins. And I remember that, and I was like, that's pretty good. But yeah, to like get what I'm trying to say at is, I just saw these two different opposite views within the same grounded level, and this one guy who's and the other guy's like older, much older, but they're still on the same level. And the Lynx, the one who's grounded in himself, is quite young. He's only just like graduated like about 4 years ago, whatever. So he's still in his early 20s. And just that route of like going up and just trying to look for yourself within other people that have no connection to you, trying to impose your subjective reality on theirs. it's just gonna make for a fucking bad call, bad ending. Just to wake up where you just wake up 30 years, 40 years and realize what the fuck are you actually doing? I don't know. It's kind of my thought. I try not to look too much towards celebrities now. Try to look towards myself. But I did used to like. I still got my like Kanye up there, but like now I don't like whenever Kanye's in the news. I'm not really up on that, and I'm not really up on other things. And pertaining to the film world, I hate actors. I hate why actors speak. And there also have been some movies that have sort of changed my views on like who's really doing the work, who's really fucking grinding. And it's
guys like Miyamoto. It's like even when I talk about him, I gotta understand. It's not just like, oh, he came up with all these ideas and now he is Nintendo. It's like Iwata was a programmer as like a little kid. Like he enjoyed playing with calculators. He literally programmed like his own video game on a calculator, and then this guy was like no joke, and he rose through the ranks with pure grit. And like take a guy like that, and then it's like, oh, Miyamoto, he came up with the Wii. It's like no. Well, but of course, like people, I'm not patronizing anybody that does know the history of this. It's like, of course, there's more that lies behind the man in this case. It's like Miyamoto's not the president of anything, just to keep it generic. It's not like the president of Illumination Entertainment came up with the Minions, or or anything like that. Yeah. But
I just want to say fuck actors. I don't know why they. I don't know. I just always think back on Javier Bardem and what he had to say and how he was just a worker.
Yeah.
Not an actor. He was not an artist. He's just working.
It's just a profession. There's nothing really glorifying about it. But well, yeah. I mean, there's other stuff I could say about it, but it's more personal, I guess, because out of the cut after we cut. Basically, Paul and I were just talking a little bit about like experiences with acting and stuff, and regardless of whatever it was, I mean, it really wasn't that big a deal. I just didn't want to say the names or whatever. I thought it was like kind of a tangent, but the point that I wanted to make here is that I want to get everybody that worked with us on Setting the Sun on the podcast as well, just so we can really establish sort of the moral bounds of what it takes to make a movie, or like I have some questions that I'd want to raise just in terms of like what I could have done, but it's not even like that, because I'm proud of what we did, but I wonder if I could have done more, if I was too harsh, or etc etc etc. But jumping back to the point, I think on what we were talking about with making icons out of people, you brought up Kanye West. And names aside, big names, that is, it kind of put me in this hipster state with where I live. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it was just my own personal journey. I started following more like YouTube names and finding these hip like creators that really spill their soul and talk about things that I care about, and they're just like me. They're just a normal person in front of a camera or editing something, or etc etc. But this brings me to a major fear I have nowadays, and I'll build up to it just by saying things like, as we talked about in the second podcast, I enjoyed creators like Pyrocynical, Leafy is Here, I Hate Everything. And I'll say this too, even just recently, I've kind of gone down a bit of a weird take on YouTube and just what it is, even from the smaller creator aspect. Like on Instagram, I just went down a rabbit hole and I found this sort of Finsta, like fake Instagram account of I Eat Everything, and it was just like harmless meme stuff, and it was like his dog in a car, like oh ha ha, dog driving car, and it was like some cutesy thing that he did with his dog. But then I look at the wheel of the car. It's a fucking BMW. Like, this man's driving around this like really nice car, and he's a YouTuber, and they're all like, "Oh, we're suffering out here." Da 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 da. I'm just saying that like that's my worry for the future of just content in general. And like, I'm comfortable. Like I'll even say this too. Like I keep saying this guy's name, but I really enjoy his work, is because I really enjoy Star Fox, and now I've kind of grown to enjoy Matthew Gafford, Fox in Space. I give the guy $10 a month on Patreon, and it keeps him from like working jobs like I'm working, or, but like so I can like see the content, etc. But point I'm saying is like, the main point I want to get at next with you, and we could go back and forth about this for I don't know, but it's about mysticism, because that's what defines media as a sort of Goliath, or, no, as a monolithic figurehead. So it's what we don't understand about the background of creation that makes us more, I suppose, stargazing about it all. Like we go back 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, and you look back and it's like a different. It's a fancy time. It's like a illusion, sort of.
yeah, everything about it. It's like not even on the, like you said, like the illusion, like practical or like special effects and whatever. Not that sort of illusion, but just the grandiose feeling of everything.
Yeah, it's the romanticism of it, I guess.
Like taking like anything, movies in general, the golden era of Hollywood. Like everybody wanted to be an actor or an actress. Everybody wanted to be famous, and then there are all these stories of, well, fame is bad and here's why, da da da. But that was all still under the guise of famous people talking about fame. You know, like there was still a certain mystique about it that people just couldn't quite wrap their heads around. And being famous in general just was this out of reach concept that not many people understood. I think even now there are still inklings of fascination for fame and what that lifestyle must be like, etc., etc., etc. But more so, I think there is a growing tide of people that are trickling into what is quote unquote the alternative media of YouTube, streaming services, Twitch, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. And with that, there is this perception that there is no mystique, that it's a person talking to you.
Ooh, okay.
You know? But real quick, too, I want to back myself up before I just say that and let it be it. Because I know for a fact that there are also people that tell the truth about these fake people on YouTube. And they spill all the fake nonsense that you've been taking into your head. Like, Boxy was just an actress the entire time. Whoa.
Yeah.
But everybody's a fucking... Everybody's fake. Nobody's real on YouTube, on Twitch. If, like, everything is just a projection of what they want you to see. Like... And what I'm worried about, because it's the same thing with, like, earlier, with how celebrities have to say something about a subject, and they are nothing more than the experiences that brought them to that point, and they can't be anything more because they physically are, you know, they're bound to where they are as a standpoint. But what I'm saying, too, it's the same thing with these content creators. They can't not be fake. You know, myself included. I think that's why duality in mankind is a necessity. We must have, in my writing even, if I can be as truthful as I can be, in my writing, I differentiate myself between I. There is I that I show to others, and then there is myself for which I try to understand. And that's as real as I can get. But beyond that, I'm just muddying the definition of who I am, because I am myself, but I can't tell you about that because that's beyond me, or that's beyond I, if I were to use diction correctly, you know.
But yeah, on that point about the streamers and whatnot thinking that you're seeing their real life, I think that's really fucking dangerous, because then you're growing even deeper into that hole. and you're just gonna get lost. Like even like my little brothers and my little sisters. I mean, little brother and sister. I fear for them and what they're gonna go through, and like just how they're gonna grow up and what mindset they're gonna have if they just keep on ingesting all this fucking junk.
Where it's so
but
it's so real though too. That's what's so terrifying is that it feels like it's just right there.
It's like
yeah.
it's like from Blade Runner 2049 when he hands like Joe comes out and he's like, "Good, touch it." Oh god. I need to go rewatch that movie. But no, it's becoming like that. Honest to God. And on the other point of like what you put into your work is I've been seeing a lot of things in my life revolving around the theme of balance. And you're talking about the dichotomy and duality and whatnot. Like the whole thing that keeps them together is balance. And I see that when I write, when I'm writing essays, even that just keeps on creeping in. When I'm trying to creative write, that keeps on creeping in. And that's the thing too. And not just balance within the artwork itself, but also there's another external reality where you have to keep balance, tying you from that artwork. If you get what I'm trying to say, is that you need to put yourself in there, but at the same time disconnect yourself as well and detach yourself and not have your intentions in that artwork because it's not you. It's what you project to the world, or it's the world's now. You know, that's something I've been hearing too. It's intention within your art or within what you write.
Have I told you about the like my quote unquote definition of art? Or have I don't even know if I've said it on the podcast. Did I? I could have sworn I did.
I think you did. You went through on art. Well, I'm saying art because this is what I was hearing all like last night with like the artists and everything. They kept saying art and everyone was an artist there.
Well,
whatnot,
it's all like intention, but also I look at it as consumption. I think art is all about how others take your words in. But that can only ever be achieved by their own will, their own will to then reflect and write and create an output of what you try to produce to them, and it's a cyclical process. But it gets dangerous when they become transcribers of a message they can't fully understand. Well, no, not that. Well, that they believe they understand to be their own is more so the problem.
Yeah, and I see it more on like. I see it more through the lens of like manipulation, like you could like even with language as well and art in terms of whatever. You're just I see it as like a shifting of people to look through your lens. But the good artists, they can make that happen and the people won't know that you're being manipulated. It's like Sun Tzu, I think, said, what is it? A leader is the best when others do not know they're being leaded. Or something like that. And I still have my qualms with that, and I'm still trying to dissect that apart, but I don't know. It as you're saying, through consumption, I also see it as like another form of like just manipulation, and it goes deeper on that too, that I don't want to.
Well, we talked about that too, like how all art. I think in the last podcast I was like all art is manipulation. I still stand by that.
Yeah. But continue on with what your views of consumption and art.
I mean, I think we explained that earlier, but like that's my main point that I want to bring up is it's so funny that we are falling right into the hands of what people almost centuries it's literally centuries before us fell into as well, is that romanticization of fame, and it's so bizarre. But I have no doubt that it's going to get closer and closer to our homes, and I think there are people beyond myself that have said the same thing along the lines of subjective reality, and how if your subjective reality is more comforting than your objective reality, and I don't say that in the mental conceptualization where we're living synonymously in the real world, I mean literally the physical world. If that is not endearing to oneself, then they will choose an escape, such as like virtual reality, etc., etc. Like when it actually vamps up. It was like in the movie Upgrade. There's a scene where he goes into a warehouse and everybody's connected, for like weeks on end. They got like feeding tubes and stuff, and they're just stuck in this virtual reality.
I think I read somewhere too, like upon the same lines as that, is that something about that and superhero movies nowadays that are just being tremendously just produced and jutted out, is that also is a factor in like, and that's like every movie, but it particularly lies like to a greater extent in superhero movies, is when people want to escape and see themselves in sort of the superhero aspect. And that's weird too, because the man was also very negative on that, and he was talking about how these are comic books for 12, 13-year-olds being catered to 30, 40, 50-year-old men and whatnot. But I don't know, it's just that sort of similar fact, and I think that also kind of tied in with what we said earlier with TV shows and whatnot. But I think if I just mention superhero movies, you'll get the point that I'm trying to say with in terms of that.
Well, it's comforting as well. It's the same thing as like with a Mario movie. The safe option is to go for those that are nostalgic for the medium or the material, and then those that are just kind of hopping in for some mindless entertainment. I mean, it's Rocky. The saga was popcorn fodder in the 80s, and now it's superhero movies, and I have no doubt in my mind that the next generation of popcorn films are going to be video game movies.
Video games.
I'm excited though.
Yeah.
But that is, as I said, with even the diction, I am excited, for that is the projection of what I see to be comforting, but in my heart, I know that it's going to be nothing more than echoes of my past that will never be relived. So, I mean, it is what it is. If it's comforting for a couple hours on end, then I'll pay a few bucks to see it. But that's about it.
Yeah.
But if you want to, I mean, we can move on from that point if you want.
I'm just thinking, will they ever make a RuneScape movie? Will my echoes of my past ever be? You could be the one to write it.
Well, I have a serious moral question. If you wanna get deeper down this hole.
Okay.
I'm wondering, how young is too young to be a pedophile?
What is this? Is this in regards to like Tumblr?
No.
This is just like
in general. I was talking to somebody about this, and I was like, damn, I don't know if anybody's ever really talked about that. Just like, how young is too young to be a pedophile? Okay,
well, I'll try to just like talk out my thought process regarding to this. Okay, so when I hear that question, I think, okay, older than 18, but that's not necessarily true.
Did you see that episode of Black Mirror talking about TV shows where they got the troll meme?
No.
That boy gets trolled? You don't know? Show a clip. Bang.
What's that I found? My diamond.
Nah.
Yeah.
What happened in that episode?
Basically, this kid is like some restaurant worker, and some girl like loses a doll, and he brings the doll back to her. He's like, here you go. Everything's cute, whatever. Then he goes back home, and he's on his laptop jerking off. And then like some hackers are on his laptop like, LOL, get fucked. We saw what you did. He's like, oh. And it's like, we're gonna tell your parents that what you did. And of course, the entire entire episode, you're like, oh, he jacked off. And he doesn't want his parents or like his friends to see him jacking off because that's humiliating. But no, it's because he's a pedophile and he's really humiliated by that. And
was he jacking off the kids? Yeah.
So he's turned on by kids, and he was like, I think 17 or something, or like, he was like a teenager. But it's not a bad concept. Like, it's actually it was a good episode. But I fuck with you not. There was a troll meme, like the lay funny troll face, like on his screen. It's like, get trolled. And it's like a troll face. It's like, god damn it. I mean, I'll have shown a clip, and I demonetized the video, but
Yeah.
it's pretty sad. It's really funny.
But okay, with that new light in mind, I was gonna say that they were gonna have to be over 18, but that's not particularly the case. I think there is no, well, there is an age limit. I think it's when you stop being a kid yourself.
When does that happen, though?
Is that? I feel like everything I say is. No.
Tell me, Paul.
It's like, okay, so let's say you're 10 years old, right? And you see a fine mamacita walking down the road. And I'm talking a kitty mamacita. Okay, I shouldn't
yeah,
say
you're
that.
really talking them up.
Okay, no, okay, so you're seeing a fine little girl, okay, but you're 10 years old, right?
How fine, though? What's fine
It's
about
not bad.
it?
What's fine? She's like, let's say she's like, fuck, what's the name of that female version of Bowser?
What?
Damn.
Bowsette?
Bowsette. She's like Bowsette, you know.
I'm just trying to make you talk up a little
Alright.
girl. I'm just trying to make. But
You just trying. Oh shit! I should put on my fucking my thing, my little sticker thing on my webcam now. Oh. But I'm saying, all right, you're 10 years old and you see a little Bowsette. You know, that's fine, right? Let's say you're 12 years old. She's still 10. That's still fine.
no, I like.
It's not fine. It's okay. You would be in 6th grade. She would be in 4th
That's
grade.
weird, dude. Yeah.
It's weird, but it's not like alarming. It's not like whoa.
I guess not, but it's. I think
But if you're like,
if you're in a different
If you're like an
level
8th
of
grader.
school, it's kind of odd. Like like middle schoolers and high schoolers getting together. Like middle schoolers getting pregnant with high schoolers. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's bad. No, that's
Yeah.
bad right there. Like a fresh, okay, because then at that point, you've already sort of passed the maturity level of the middle schooler. You kind of stop seeing them as that way. You're like, they're just kids, you know?
I think we're not even
So-
talking about pedophilia at that point. We're talking about like just gross, insecure guys going
Yeah.
for younger girls.
I guess so. I don't know. What's your take on this?
All right, I'm glad you asked, Paul. Okay, I'm saying this. This is my take. It's all about intention, like we were talking about with art. No, but like I think it's if I mean I guess it could be girls or guys, but still it's probably guys because.
Can you read it? Is it backwards?
Paul.
Best caption ever.
Should
I'm not
I?
gonna lie.
I'm debating on putting that screen cap in the podcast. I don't.
You'll get
Yeah,
James
it'd
Gunn.
be funny for like
Don't
2
do it.
seconds, and then I just get raked over the coals. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm just saying. It's like I think so. Now we can harmlessly talk about pedophiles though, at least. So like, I'm
Okay.
saying if a person has desire and they can fulfill said desire, that's where it gets into danger territory, you know? So if a little baby boy can get his pee-pee hard, I think that's when lines start getting drawn in the sand. So it depends though.
So, oh, yeah.
Well, I'm
no,
saying, like,
continue. I'm just trying to think.
I
of,
think like kids get erections at like really young though, don't they?
they start when they develop. I think that would be like for boys. It's like 12 to 14. That's like I'm spouting
12 to
off.
14 is when people
What I
finally get
learned.
erections.
Yeah, well, that's when they start developing.
Well, yeah,
puberty.
but I'm saying like I was like
I think-
7, and I was like, I'm not saying it's.
7 years old.
I'm not saying it's
I
like
don't
it
remember.
felt. It was like it felt good or whatever. I'm just saying it's like
Yeah, you got
it's-
it.
You're just
Like,
like,
you
what
just-
the
you
heck?
just-
Oh, but that's when I remember, you know.
I don't think I remember when. Maybe I was 10. I think I was about 10. Oh my god, no, I do know. I remember. This is like a very buried memory, but it's like resurfacing. It's like pretty fucking funny though. It's like I remember when I was in 2nd grade, me and like 2 other friends were just like in the reading circle or whatever. And everyone was doing whatever, and we were there. And then my friends, the two friends were like, you know, I can do this better than you, or I can do this better than you. And one guy was like, I can do karate. One guy was like, I can do karate. I do karate after school. And then the other guy was like, "Oh yeah, I can make my dick move." and then he like, we look down, and he's like, it's bolting through his pants. It's like, and I was like, whoa. I don't remember if I could do that when I was that age, but I remember that guy could do it at that age. So I guess, yeah, second
That's
grade,
awesome.
I was...
He's cool.
6 or 7, yeah, I guess so. He was like, I
bet he's like really popular now, Paul.
I bet he got a big dick now, man. I bet he got a dick big now.
Got that dick making moves, he making moves.
No, he went to... I would see him around school. No, but I did see him at school, and I would say what's up to him.
He'd wave to you with his penis.
He followed me throughout high school. Yeah, I still wonder. That was a funny fucking memory that came up, though. It's pretty funny.
I just remember, like, going up and down on hills in the car, and like, oh.
You get that little tingle? Yeah.
But, well, like, but what I'm saying, too, though, is that, like, even though your dick can tingle, I don't know if that's intentional.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think every boy is like, ew, girls are icky, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
now we're getting on, like, when do you start as a child learning right and wrong, like, learning these things of sexual matters?
I guess maybe you could, like, ingrain that in a kid. That's really gross, but you could, like, make your kid attracted to fucking, like, babies, you know? Or I wonder, like, where that even happens. Like, that's what I'm really wondering about, is, like, I feel like there's so much edgy comedy nowadays about, like, tragedies, like, big tragic events. Racism is a, like, hot button comedy thing, or, like, just fucking with people or whatever. But, like, nobody really talks about pedophilia. And I worry because I joke around about it so much. People are probably like, Zach's a fucking pedophile, dude. It's like, for the record, on this podcast, I'm officially stating,
I am not a pedophile.
Yeah, I think it's fucking gross. It's just guys that are power hungry and they're trying to assert control, or just in which they don't have, and it's just kind of, it's really pathetic. It's really pathetic. Really pathetic. I can't fucking agree with.
No.
But Trump.
Now I'm thinking about, like, as a child, when did you start to learn, like, think about girls and be like, ooh, that's naughty?
See, like, I don't think I ever thought about it in, like, a naughty fashion, you know?
Or, like, not, like, you're like, there's something wrong with that. Like, it made you feel a certain way. And you begin to, like, think about girls differently.
I know that, like, they're probably not even listening to this podcast. I'll just say straight up, like, I'm not going to say the name, of course, but I remember in elementary school, there was this one girl that would kind of, like, play around with me in terms of, like, oh, we're dating. No, we're not. But she really liked this other guy that I was friends with. And, I mean, that, like, psychologically kind of fucked me over, because it's made me more resilient to really get into relationships at all. So yeah, and plus, like, other factors as well. It's not like that's the only one, but just so, like, I kind of had that Peter Parker girl next door mentality all my life, you know. So even if I were to say, like, when I started thinking about girls in that way, I think it was just like it was more like servitude. It's really gross, you know, just like, I just want to be in a relationship and that's it, you know, like, I guess it's even middle school. I'll tell you, I'll open up about this story. There's this one time, in 8th grade, when we were touring, or we were going to a high school, and, like, doing the tour thing they do, you know? And all my compatriots are talking about the girls that they saw at the high school, and they're like, I'm, like, really turned on by all these girls, man. My wiener hard. Like, And one of them was like, yeah, man, there's so many yoga pants, blah, 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 you know, like rattling off. And we're in 8th grade, like, younger than all these girls. I was like, whatever, you know, that doesn't matter, I guess. But then it comes to me, and they're like, Zach, man, like, what do you see, bro? What do you see? And I'm like, bro, fuck, you know, like, you know when you see one of those asses that's like, it like curves, dude? Yeah, man, yeah. I'm just like, that's the thing, is like, I never really had any form, even now, I don't know, I feel like now I'm getting like too personal or whatever, but I'm like, fuck it, just because it's kind of a non-issue for me, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. I'm just...
You were never in that like sort of sexual little mind state. Well, not even a mind state, it's just the way you perceive.
Yeah, because it's not like I jack off and then I start weeping. I'm like, oh, what have I done? Oh, I wasted everything. It's like, I just think the same sensation people get from jerking off is probably the same thing they get from doing that with somebody else. You know, I can't speak. Well, shit. Now I'm getting really serious, or like really personal. I can't say that I know what that would be like, but I'm not too keen to find out anytime soon, because I would be kind of like, it just really wouldn't matter. So if it doesn't matter in the first place, then why even try? Why put my efforts to try anything like that when I could put my efforts into writing, into doing things that I actually care about? And why put a value on things that I don't find any reason in associating myself with? I think this like time I've had here in Portland, Maine, like where I am right now, and I'm actually going back to Florida pretty soon here, I've really reconciled on that and really had to question my values and figure out what my identity is in comparison to other people and like friends and stuff too. It's like I'm talking to less people that I used to know, and like names, everything, and like we kind of talked about this between you and I'm gonna keep this for myself, and even like you to an extent. It's the idea of familiar strangers. I think that's a philosophy of mine that I really keep close to my heart, and it's something that's truly for myself, I think, and there's far more to it, but just I've really had to come to terms with what I am and the experiences I've had, and I'm kind of growing into an acceptance of it. And I think, again, it's like acceptance is empowering, and it's not like other people need to accept me either, you know? That's what's really important about that.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about... Well, I don't hate it, but I'm just saying I'm indifferent to that sort of philosophy today in the general aspect where people need to be empowered by others' acknowledgement. I'm just entirely indifferent. I don't care. And I come back to that reiteration of, if I don't care, then why the hell am I even fucking trying? You know?
Yeah, no, yeah. God. That last statement, if I don't care, why the hell am I even trying, is ringing so true to me these days, and like the fucking connections I'm trying to establish, and well, not as trying to, just like come up and whatever. Like, for me, like going back further with what you said, like, well, just starting off, like I was younger, like your middle school experience with the high school ladies, like that whole conversation reminds me a lot about what the type of like my friends that I grew up with would say, like, you know. We do have like these lewd conversations, and you know, like to me those would end up becoming like stuff to connect with, or like, you know, as guys, that's a bro talk, that's a closet locker talk, you know, grab her by the pussy. You know? But you know, not everyone thinks that way, and it would, like, I would have that sort of lewd mindset and be like, oh, this man would want to talk like that or something. But no, it's not like that. And you know, that's it. Kind of like, you know, growing up with other people that would, it kind of made me think that everyone else did, but they didn't. And so you're, you know, talking about your perception on that, and my perception is the opposite, sort of, not necessarily opposite, but you know, it's different. But it's gonna get a little personal on here with my middle school developmental days. I don't know if anyone's listening, but you know, growing up, like, that would cause me to reach out to like people, you know, just to be friends, but then they wouldn't necessarily have the same sort of like connection with me. And that's the thing with like all throughout middle school and freshman year of high school, like I just felt so alone. Like I was hanging around with like a bunch of guys, but I didn't fucking care, and they didn't fucking care about me either. And that was just how it felt. And that's how, like, you know, it's, you know, that's why I don't really put much faith in like establishing and like, you know, relationships with women or nothing like that. Instead, I'd rather work on myself and work on other creative developments. And I actually had a conversation about this with a chick here, and I was talking to her, and I try to be neutral towards everyone I come across with, you know, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. I'm just me, and I'll present to you the way I do with everyone else. But I was talking to her after a party, and she hit me up. She was like, would you like to talk? Downstairs. And I was like, okay, let's talk. And we're just talking, and I assume it says friends, you know, like, I mean, the context suggests otherwise, but there were already some other things going on. It was that one girl at the baseball park who talked about her ex. I don't know if I told you about it. So I was like, okay, we're just friends, yeah. And so we go downstairs into like the common lobby or whatever, and we're just chilling, and she's kind of drunk or whatever, and I'm just chilling. I'm not drunk at all. And then she starts talking about her relationships and how they usually form, and she was like, you know, my boyfriends usually start out as friends that I meet, and then they become boyfriends. And I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm not playing these games. I don't give a fuck about this. I'm not gonna try anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm just focusing on myself and film and whatnot, just watching movies. And she was like, really? And she said it's so snotty. I was like, oh, this must have hit something. And she was like, and I was like, yeah, you know, like, I don't really, if it happens, I was just like, just to like ease her pain, I was like, if it happens, it happens, I guess, but it's not, I'm not necessarily putting myself out there for that. She was like, oh, okay, I see. And then we talked for like 5 more minutes, and then she went to go sleep. Or like, I kind of kicked her out. I was like, don't you have that thing in the morning? You got to get some sleep, man. And I was like, come on. But I don't know. I just feel like we're too fucking incels. Hell yeah.
Hey!
No, we're not incels. We just don't give a fuck. That's the thing.
I think it speaks to the generation we live in too. Like, you know, everything is so casual nowadays that things happen, they happen. And like, you know, what I was talking about too, I'm gonna get super fucking personal. You know what? I had a conversation with, I talked to my dad about this, you know? Like last year, when we were in the heat of the movie, I remember there was a really big moment when I talked to him about I was just really frustrated. I remember I was like banging my fist on things just because some shit didn't go right, and I was venting, and I wasn't breaking anything except myself, so I could whittle myself down. And he comes into the house, and I didn't know anybody was there, you know. So I'm just like I'm like yelling at myself basically, and he comes in, and there's this big confrontation, whatever. And then it kind of boils down to, if you don't want to like get with anybody, or like if you don't want to then like so be it. And he says that to me.
Oh yeah.
And, well, yeah, I told you about this part.
I remember this.
And what I'll say to this is like, if there's any prostitutes out there, like, don't be afraid. No, but I'm saying like, but I hate that that's the way it's looked at right now. From where I'm at,
yeah,
it's like, doesn't that say something that myself and virtually, maybe not even half, a majority of guys out there right now are thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Who can I casually fuck? I'm sure a majority of the girls out there are thinking the same thing. Who can I get with to bust a nut and move on with my day? And I say that, and I say it's the same thing with, and I'm gonna keep digging. I'm gonna dig this fucking hole I'm going down, like weed, drinking, all that shit. It's excess. It's stuff that you get by, you get through your day, and then you have some form of stimulus to make you feel better about the fucking day you wasted. That's all it is. It's just, it feels good, and maybe some people can do things under the influence. You know, maybe they've adapted and they've honed themselves, but no. At the end of the day, I still go to the gas station most every night and I get gummy bears. I eat that shit during the night because I can't fucking help myself because I got a sweet tooth, bro. We all got something, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's like...
No, but... Yeah.
Everything's in excess. And like, you gotta have something to prove yourself. And people look at it and then they... Well, like, back then it was the American dream. It was, how can I materialize my wealth and my success? Now it's just like, it's all notoriety. It's about trying to prove yourself in a subjective realm by other person's values. It's not about conformity to an objective norm. It's about literally changing the way you perceive the world so that you can try and be better in your own eyes. That is so degrading in today's society.
Yeah. And it's so backwards to yourself.
And that's the way it's always been. It's not even like today's society is so wrong because of that. It is just ingrained in who we are as people. As a social animal. It's needed. It's a necessity to our survival to just want to procreate for not even any reason other than a mistake. if said.
Yeah. No, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more. I'm coming in with you.
I'll edit you if you want.
Yeah. No, but there's been moments where like I've gone to parties and like frat guys are there and I'm just like I'm looking and it's like I feel like we're all on the same page with like whoever we meet. It's like, well, I'm talking about me and like the guys. It's like we meet, boom, what's up? My name's this, my name's that. There, but then they're able to just like escalate it and get to and make out right there on the dance floor and then just go home with them. And I'm like, I think like how do you just like detach all those levels of like you know levels of yourself and just let them get that fucking
intimacy.
Vulnerable and just that intimate.
It's like, oh my god,
that's I don't understand.
We just came full circle. I just like that's a revelation right there. The way we interact socially is the same way we falsely believe ourselves to be closely attached to today's media. It's the same thing. This intimacy, this faceless compassion about using another's body as an extension of ourselves. It's insecurity.
Yeah.
It's insecurity that we could ever be anything in our own life, that we could ever be a protagonist by watching other people live their lives on YouTube, these fucking vlogs, these commentary channels, these reviews, these extensions of our own perception of what we should see to be right or wrong, good or bad. I think so much content nowadays, this is actually an infuriation that is being reignited with me because I see this problem within myself, I see this problem with everybody else. I used to be so fucking pretentious when I'd watch these review channels and say, have you seen Your Movie Sucks? Oh, do you know I Hate Everything said this about, oh, well, Ralph the Movie Maker said this, the Sardonicast talking about this. It's like, I can enjoy them on the quote-unquote content that they produce, but it's nothing but the regurgitation of what they take in, this output, but there's less effort.
Yeah.
There's no fancy edits, there's no fancy, magic being done. It's just a bunch of bodies on the fucking dance floor getting together and then leaving the next day, and then that's the output of our night. That's it. It is just this lazy attempt at defining ourselves. Because we want comfort. We want comfort. That's it.
Yeah. And that's just there. That's what we see, and that's what people want to be. And I've definitely looked at it and been like, and like thought about it. Like, but I'm gonna feel myself up on this one. I think there's like more strength, and I've done this too. It's like more strength in saying no to that. If because that's not me. That's not who I want to be. That's that faceless compassion, whatever, all that right there. There's been moments where like that's happened, and I've just been like, fuck, that's not me right now. I don't give a shit about this comfort that you want to give me or that I want to take in, this excess. I don't want this excess right here, and I'm just going to back away. Just going to quit and whatnot. Just so I can also say I've had those moments too, just to feel myself up. No, I'm playing with you, but But yeah, you're right. It's all just excess and fodder to our brains, to our bodies, and just detaches ourselves from who we're supposed to be at the end of the day, I would say. And that also, that social media aspect of it is, I gotta have like a more centralized outlook on that.
Oh yeah.
Because I can definitely see,
I mean,
yeah.
like I have these. I mean, I'll say this straight up. Like, I'm not even saying like this is a fault of the person's. It's the same thing with like these review channels, etc. Like, I'm saying names like them, like I'm straw manning and building up this sort of narrative
Yeah.
of mine. I mean, it's not necessarily straw manning. I think it's true, but like what I'm saying is not necessarily their fault. It's the people that are watching them. It's my fault. It's the viewers that
Yeah.
embellish them to exist. You know, otherwise, I'm sure Your Movie Sucks. That channel would be doing more because he's a bassist. Like, he enjoys watching movies, but or is he? Yeah, he's a bassist, so he enjoys making music. Anyway, I'm just saying, it's like there would be other routes of entertainment that we could all take as people, if we should choose to give them that form of if we should entertain even viewing that sort of content, you know. So
And I,
we'll just like to finish off. Like, I have some friends, and they are musicians. I'm not too musically inclined. I'm trying to fiddle around. I'm just trying to learn the general scope of directing and film, etc. But talented friend of mine. I enjoy watching his covers and his original creations, and again, it's like it's not necessarily a fault of anybody here. I think he has a girlfriend that I met when I visited with him, and I noticed her, like, I saw that she was following him, so I started following her, or like I went to her page, and I'm like, holy shit, she has like a cult meme following, just like out of nowhere. She has like 6,000 or something followers. She's following like 200 people or something, and I'm not saying that like solely kind of brought me to this state that of like what we're talking about now, even about like speculation and being famous in like your own sort of microcosm, etc. But I'm just saying, it's like that was so bizarre to me that this is a friend of mine of a friend, and then there are all these people that know her as well, and they're like, LOL. I'm not gonna bring up the references or whatever, but it's like there's a meme status, and I'm just like, wow, this is so bizarre, you know. But just to wrap up like that point there, and what I'm getting at, it's like, you know, then I go to my friend who is musically inclined, and he has like maybe a few hundred followers, maybe or something.
yeah.
Go to me, I only have like a fucking 200. No, but then it becomes like a numbers game, you know, and it's just like that's depressing.
Yeah.
And that's why I get to that philosophy of mine where it's like it's more important to be famous in your own eyes. And when I look back at Setting the Sun, I don't see I'm starting to see less of the problems with it. You know, I feel what I myself in the past was trying to say to me of now, and carry on with that. But anyway, I cut you off when you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like I remember like one of the first times I met you, you talked to me about like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, Zach, I don't really get it though. Like I think I'm gonna go watch a video that like will explain it to me, because I was just getting into film or whatever, and I didn't really understand it. And then you were like, don't do that, Paul. And I was like, okay, I won't. Then I did it anyway. And I went and I watched, and then like, you know, it was good at first. Like it was like, okay, oh, I know this and that, and I just took in that information, and now I feel smarter because but no, like afterwards it was like, yeah, I just took it in what this man just told me, and I didn't think for myself, you know. I gotta say that's the point, and that's the thing that I just like keep on living with, and I still think about it to this day, and I think about it when I'm with you, and I think about like just thinking for myself.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. Yeah.
I mean, like we're just being two-faced here too, because like let's open up and say this podcast right now, like what people
Yeah.
are listening to. I'll say straight up, like there are so many podcasts being produced. Like we are not, breaking new ground here at all. Even like one of my favorite podcasts is even like it knows it's like Like, the world need another goddamn podcast is one of their slogans or something.
Yeah.
And to open up about this podcast, I don't know if we stated this openly either, but like this just it's well no I memed it in the first podcast episode. How like at the end of the podcast episode I'm like, this podcast is almost as long as setting the sun.
Oh yeah,
just
that's
how
right.
like you think about all the time that went into making that movie.
Condensed.
God, but that's what
Condensed.
people want. They want things to be condensed, and they want facts, and they want reviews, and they want this subjugated knowledge, because that's all that matters nowadays. It's these encapsulated bullet points that you can bring up at parties or in small talk to act like you know something more than the other person you're talking to. But what's going to happen, though, when the person you're talking to watches the same YouTuber? Then what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. And then it's just, yeah. It's just funny. It all is. Like, and that's why it was fun to make the AOKZ-Man video. And I should say this too, like, if I get ripped apart for having that bullshit channel, just play the sound clip of me saying that channel was just for me developing editing skills and everything associated with its quote-unquote derogatory, racist, pedophilic, terrible, heinous things on that bullshit channel that I don't give a fuck about. Just remove it from my name. I don't know. Just like, it's not even as simple as saying, it's all satire, bro. Because too many people cop out with that phrasing. I made it initially knowing that it was just going to be bullshit. Like, it was funny, and I made it so I could make my friends laugh. And it still makes me laugh when I go back and watch it. But
Yeah.
it goes back to comfort, and I think it's the sort of theme I've been revolving around lately, is that idea of like the first podcast episode about creativity and bullshit. There's that fine line between what we produce, and if I could make stupid AOKZ-Man videos for all my life, like there are so many people making Minecraft Let's Play channels, like there are so many people making ASMR pickle eating channels, like there are so many people making toy review channels, like there are so many people wasting their time, I would gladly waste my time as well. But I don't want to be that comfortable in life. I want to keep moving, even if it means making a podcast that I don't even necessarily think people should listen to. If you know what I say, if you know what I'm getting at, I think that what we're saying is probably best as like, if you're going to bed, if you're...
It's a sleepy time podcast. What you use to go to sleep
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, this is I think we're reaching an ending point, honestly. If you want to.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's good.
We traveled
Longer than the movie at this point.
Yeah, this is the sequel. This is the sequel.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably gonna get a complaint for that last part.
Yeah. Any viewers out there, if you want to hop on Fortnite with my sweet mates, hit them up. Actually, I can't say the fucking gamer tag because it's racist as fuck.
It's a prank, bro. It's a prank.
It's Jesus Christ.
It's
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's kawaii. You ever heard of that? Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to bleep that out because batteries is what they gave to slaves when they were running away in the nighttime.
Oh my god. That's like deep lore racism.
That is, yeah, I know, that's
like you really have to dig for that to call that racist. Because like I don't know what it is. But
there's like, it's like you gotta know your shit about kawaii.